Kaktus Towers are the newest structures to join the Copenhagen skyline. The towers, which were designed by Bjarke Ingels Group, opened in the middle of 2022 and stand at the center of a decades-long project to revitalize this post-industrial area. The process began with a local plan that was published in 2005 and intended to redevelop a long-forgotten strip next to the city's central train station. Holger Dale, architecture editor of the Berlingske newspaper, has highlighted the tower's prominent presence in the area, saying that the Kaktus Towers don't look like anything you've seen before, but they're there, asserting themselves prominently in an area where pretty much any other structure of the same size would drown. The building is located between the meatpacking nightlife district, the sprawling train tracks of Dibbelsbro train station, and the Fisketorvet Copenhagen Mall. The area surrounding the towers has a rich industrial history, having evolved over time through land reclamation to make space for gasworks, railway lines, and then subsequently the meatpacking district and fish market, which Fisketorvet takes its name from. However, this rugged post-industrial area has a green future ahead of it. The towers are part of the Green Strip project, running parallel to the roads and tracks, that will encompass housing in the form of the Kaktus Towers, an urban IKEA, and a hotel, all positioned along a raised walkway reminiscent of the High Line in New York. This site features multiple level changes to accommodate all types of inner-city transit, including bike lanes, pedestrian walkways, buses, cars, and trains. The towers sit at the center of a web of movement, but the Green Strip elevates us above the roads and tracks, giving pedestrians and residents alike some respite from the bustling city below. This is achieved by channeling pedestrians above the street on ramps into a green corridor that makes use of green roofs on top of Kaktus Towers, IKEA, and Cabin Hotel. It was important when designing these green roofs to consider the loads on the structure as it relates to the weight of different plants. This feat of engineering required long-term urban planning and collaboration across multiple design and construction projects over the course of 17 years. The towers are positioned on the Green Strip like a podium. They twist the floor plate upwards, using balcony modules that shift every level to create a twisting outer form. Residents view the city from a very unique angle, depending on the rotation of the balcony and where on the 24 floors their apartment is located. The building envelope itself is a hexadecagon, which is to say a 16-sided shape, meaning there are 16 rooms on each floor, and apartments are made up of these room modules. Besides the core, containing the stairs and elevators, the interior spaces in round towers are a function of the inner and outer radius of the floor plate and the angle of the segment size. In the Kaktus Towers, we have an outer radius of 12.7 and an inner radius of 5.5, leaving 377 square meters. We then chamfer the edge and split the donut shape up into 16 segments, meaning that each studio apartment is 23 square meters with a varying balcony size. We can also join two segments on each floor to create a two-room apartment with two separate sleeping areas and a larger bathroom. In the Kaktus Towers, the narrowest segment angle makes the rooms feel like they frame a specific part of the city, whereas in the nearby Gemini residence by Dutch architect MVRDV, the interior spaces feel more like a panorama due to the larger angle of the segment they occupy. Round towers can be hard to design and decorate for because it can be hard to orient things along a curving wall. But the Kaktus Towers chamfers the edge instead, making it flat. This also makes the building cheaper and easier to build, as it is hard to find curved building components. It was said by Frank Gehry that in architecture, flat pieces cost $1, single curvature pieces cost $2, double curvature pieces cost $10. The Kaktus Towers forgoes this unnecessary expense and makes a feature out of it by attaching custom balcony modules onto each flat facet of the tower, creating a dynamic urban form in an efficient manner. In principle, the design simply overlays a square shape around a circular tower. However, every floor you go up, the square rotates one increment. Once the square has completed one full 90-degree turn, it turns back on itself, creating a zigzag shape, rather than simply continuing in the same direction, which would appear more like a spiral. This undulating quality gives the Kaktus Towers its unique cactus-like appearance. The development explores some interesting ideas in residential design. The towers are marketed as smart living, also known as micro-living, which usually involves a smaller, more efficiently designed apartment. Most of the apartments are 33 square meters, with a balcony that can vary between small, medium, and large. But on every floor there is one larger two-room apartment of 53 square meters. The furniture in micro-apartments is typically built in and attempts to maximize the smaller space with tables that fold out from the wall and a bed that doubles as a sofa. Micro-apartments are becoming more popular in Europe due to the housing crisis and preferences shifting towards single-person households. Analysis by the clients of Kaktus Towers, the Kaktus Group, shows that single-person households are particularly prevalent in Germany and the Nordics, whereas the highest rents continue to come from London, Paris, and Amsterdam. However, despite their growth in Europe, micro-apartments have been common in Asia for 50 years. One of the original micro-apartment buildings was the Nakagin Capsule Tower in Tokyo, an icon of the metabolist architecture movement in Japan, where the intention of these capsules was for inner-city workers to have a small apartment close to their office. The apartments were Spartan in character, having only 10 square meters of living space, no kitchen, and a small bathroom. There was not even a communal kitchen. It was thought that socializing and dining would be conducted out on the street, instead of doing these things at home. The tower's architect, Kisho Kurokawa, believed that freedom of movement, modularity, and flexibility were the future of the growing Japanese economy, writing that, in the future, the space and tools for free movement will be the status symbols. However, in the Kaktus Towers, the space and amenities you give up for micro-living are instead located in shared common spaces. The website reads that you sleep in the apartment, but live in the building. And thus, on the ground floor, you have access to common areas that include a laundry room, communal kitchens, a gym, a cafe, social lounges, and a co-working space. While compact, I think the towers are high-functioning spaces where every square meter counts. The eye-catching design is successful at creating a very dynamic shape, efficiently, with the use of varying balcony modules. Denmark is a rather conformist society, and Copenhageners don't like when things don't fit in. But counterintuitively, the things that don't fit in end up defining the city, and people grow to love them, such as the historical spires on the skyline, which Bjarke Ingels gives as an example in the Netflix documentary about him, where he says that if everybody followed the rules, then Copenhagen wouldn't look like Copenhagen. These apartments clearly respond to a need for housing in the city center and reflect changing needs and preferences for housing, such as an increase in single-person households and the need for new arrivals in cities to have furnished housing in the city center. In the Kaktus Towers, you could arrive in Copenhagen as an expat in the country and immediately be set up with a place to live, work, and socialize. The tower's integration into the Green Strip caps off 2 decades of redevelopment in this area and leaves Copenhageners with an exciting new public space to enjoy, with all the new buildings dotted along the strip. Thank you so much for watching the whole way. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for the next one. It's going to be a tutorial on how to 3D model the Kaktus Towers using Rhino and Grasshopper, where we will go into a bit more detail on the geometric principles that underpin the Kaktus Towers. So, I'll see you then. Cheers!